Pistons have been on a downfall since they traded their franchise player of the last decade, which name is Andre Drummond, for only Brandon Knight and John Tenson. Now, that might be a crazy trade, but really, Andre Drummond can't be a franchise player. He's not even an all-star. But he was a great player, and if you only get that for him, that is crazy. The Detroit Pistons in this decade have been a worse playoff record than the laughingstock of the league, the New York Knicks. How is that even possible? Well, in today's video, I will be telling you how I'm convinced and I really think that the Detroit Pistons have a bright future, and I really think that they will make it to the playoffs next year. First of all, the Detroit Pistons are a very, very young and new team. They have a lot of young talent, and I really think that's very underrated. This team has a lot of young talent, and let's talk about that. Let's first look at Svi Mykhailiuk. Svi Mykhailiuk is a great three-point shooter, and since Andre Drummond has been traded, he has gotten into a step in the right direction. Svi Mykhailiuk is a great three-point shooter who is really, really good. He does need to work on his defense, but he is a really good role player. I really think he'll be a good role player next year. And this year he's really surprised me. He's averaged 11 points per game since Andre Drummond was not playing. And this year he's been a really good NBA player. I think his potential could be someone like Kyle Korver, but I don't really think he's going to be an all-star. He's a really good three-point shooter, and I think he'll be a good role player for the Detroit Pistons. Another really, really underrated player I want to talk about is Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown is the backup point guard of the Detroit Pistons. He's a really, really good offensive player and is pretty good at driving to the rim. He's has had a career year this year, and he's been averaging 9 points per game, and that's pretty good. He does need to work on his three-point shooting, but he has really, really good defense. I compare him to someone like Marcus Smart, who is really good on the offensive side of the ball, and also is good on the defensive side of the ball. I think he has a really bright future. I don't think he's an all-star, but he's one of those role players you really, really, really want. The next player we will be talking about is Sekou Doumbouya. Sekou Doumbouya is a great player, and he has a really, really bright future. He's a very athletic freak, and he can play a really, really good defense. Sekou Doumbouya has a bright future. Another player I want to talk about is Luke Kennard. Luke Kennard has been a really good scorer, and even though his perimeter defense is not that good, he has a bright future. He's a good three-point shooter, and he's been averaging 15 points per game. He's had a breakout year this year, and I know Crispy Flakes really likes him. Luke Kennard is a really good player, has a really good potential on the offensive side of the ball. He's been averaging 16 points per game, which is really good. He's been showing a lot of scoring potential, which is good for the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons need scoring, as they have traded Andre Drummond, and he shows a lot of promise. The next player I really want to talk about is Christian Wood. I mean, how can I forget about this guy? Christian Wood has a really, really bright future. And I don't think you guys know. Since Andre Drummond has left the Pistons, he has been a really, really good player. He started 12 games, and he had a great opportunity to start when Andre Drummond left the team. Christian Wood, he played 12 games as a starter, but he's been playing good on the bench too. when Andre Drummond was there. Christian Wood is averaging 21 points per game, 40% from three, and has overall been a very good player. He's a big man who could really shoot the three ball really well, and I really like that about his game. A big man who can shoot the three ball is really needed in today's NBA. Christian Wood has a really bright future, and in my opinion, I think he could actually become an all-star. I even think there's a possibility he could become an all-star next year, which would be really, really good for him, and it would be really good for the Pistons. Since the Pistons have him, they have been winning a lot of games, and I think he could be better than Andre Drummond. He needs to work on his defense, but he's a really, really good player. The next player I will be talking about is the Sekou Doumbouya. I did talk about him before, but I want to talk about more about this guy. He's a really, really good player, and I think he will be a role player here in the NBA. Sekou Doumbouya is a really, really good player, a freakish athlete, and some compare him to Giannis Antetokounmpo. I will not say like Giannis, but I actually think he could be an all-star at his best. And Sekou Doumbouya is a really good player. Next player I will be talking about is Killian Hayes. And yeah, Killian Hayes is not on the Pistons, but the Pistons have the 7th pick in the NBA draft. While it might not be that high of a pick, I think they could draft him. I think Killian Hayes would still be on the board and would be a reliable three-point shooter for this team. First of all, Killian Hayes is a really young player with a pretty good passer, and he is pretty good at driving to the rim. I think that Derrick Rose could mentor him since he's very young. Derrick Rose is a great mentor, and I think he's a veteran that the Detroit Pistons really need. So overall, the Detroit Pistons will be really good. And if they don't draft Killian Hayes, I think they could select Tyrese Halliburton or even get Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet is a really good player, and the Detroit Pistons need a point guard. He's had championship experience, and I think the Detroit Pistons could sign Fred VanVleet. And even if they don't get Fred VanVleet, they still will have a really bright future. They could draft a player like Killian Hayes, and I think that would be super good for the Detroit Pistons. Anyways, tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think the Detroit Pistons will make it to the NBA playoffs or no? Please tell me in the comment section below. Remember, like and subscribe, as much support is really much appreciated. Anyways, peace out.